Namaste, namaste, and welcome to Monday Morning Yoga. Today we're going to be focused on, still focused on our core, but we're going to approach it in a slightly different way. We're going to marry some Pilates exercises into our yoga as well. But to begin with, we are going to do a reclining chest opener. So if you have a bolster, then a bolster with a little block underneath to prop up the end your head will be on would be fantastic. And if you don't, then a rolled blanket will be absolutely sufficient in this. Or you can use just a simple pillow along the length of your spine. Join me now on your mat. We're going to sit against whatever support it is, so we get really, really close to it, and then feet on the floor, knees bent, and just reclining over your support. The point here is to allow the low back to come into a gentle back bend that's supported. We're really focused on opening the front of the belly here, and then making sure that the whole length of your spine is supported. So the back of the head feels very secure as well. You can allow the sides of the body to drape around your support, allowing the sides of the body and the arms and the shoulders to fall towards the floor. And take a few moments to arrive here, maybe even closing your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Because we're doing this first thing in our practice, it doesn't need to be super comfortable. This is not restorative yoga. This is a bit of yin. So as long as you feel you can hold it and soften and maintain the posture in stillness, then it's great. And if not, then slightly adjusting. Some people might need a little lift underneath the belly, underneath the buttocks, sorry. Or you might need a slightly lower support behind you. When you've been here a few moments, you can see if it feels comfortable to extend your legs, just as you would if you were in relaxation pose Shavasana. And as long as that feels okay in your low back, you can leave the legs extended. And if it doesn't, if it feels a bit too intense, then just bending the knees and placing the feet on the floor and maybe slightly tucking your tailbone under to help with that sensation. We're not going to do the variation where we take our knees out to the side with our soles of the feet together, because I want to keep this groin area of the body unstretched. The opposite of what we sometimes do in yoga. So once you've found your comfortable-ish position, and with your eyes remaining closed if possible, direct your awareness to your breath. Allow your breath to fall into that long, deep rhythm. You might tune into the movement of the body as you breathe, the lifting and expanding of the rib cage and the chest. You may be aware of the rib cage moving out to the side or down into the support behind you a little bit more than you normally are. And as you breathe, you can soften the features of your face, the area around your eyes, your mouth and tongue and jaw, allowing the chest to open, the body to be as soft and relaxed as it comes to naturally in this position. Allow the back of the head to be really heavy too. And we're going to remain in place for about 10 long, deep breaths, but don't worry about counting. I'll be doing that at this end. At the end of your next exhalation, just preparing to move from this position. So we're going to draw the feet towards each other a little and slide the feet in to bend the knees one at a time, unless you're already in that position. And then gently rolling to one side, ease the support out from underneath you. And then try rolling straight onto your back again, so that you have your knees bent, feet on the floor, arms by the sides. You're lying on your back and your body is able to come back to a more neutral position. And then observe the effect of your practice. So you might observe the sorts of thoughts that you were thinking as we lay in our stillness and breathed. You might observe the sensations in the body or changes to the breath. Whatever it is, just a simple observation, allowing the body to feel heavy against the mat again. And then when you're ready, you can gently turn your head from side to side, just keeping the head on the floor, supported all throughout the practice, and easing the head from one side to the other in this gentle twist. And if there's anywhere that feels a little bit sticky, then you can hang out there for a few moments and just see if softening and breathing in that area helps. And if you've got a sticky bit on one side, maybe you've got a sticky bit on the other. Taking the opportunity to hang out just for a few extra moments anywhere it feels like it would be useful. And then when you come back to center, we're going to lengthen the legs so that the thighs are towards each other, and we're going to extend into the heels and press the low back down into the mat, and then reach the arms up over the head, stretching through the whole body, trying to keep the spine, particularly the low back, close to the floor. Drawing the toes back towards the body, take a deep breath in here. And breathing out, relaxing the feet, letting the arms come down to the side. And then we'll do that same stretch, but with the toes pointing away. And as you reach the arms over the head, allow the back to move away from the mat. If it feels comfortable to lift the rib cage, to open the front of the body, Take a deep breath in, reaching toe tips away from fingertips. And a deep breath out, relaxing the arms down to the side, relaxing the feet, softly bending the knees into your chest, hugging them towards you, making any movements that feel good. So it might be a little rolling around on the back, or it might be something else. If you're going in circles in one direction, do take a moment to change and move in the opposite direction as well. And then when you're ready, we're going to let the feet come down to the floor. Now I'm just going to move my bolster a little bit out of the way and grab hold of my block. And I want to have my block between my knees and on its most narrow setting. So the length of the block between the knees are as close together as they can be on this block. And then we're going to move through a series of movements using the block in this position, and we do our very best with them. It doesn't really matter if it's not perfect. So to begin with, we're just gently going to firm the belly muscles and roll the low back into the mat. So a little tuck under of the tailbone, arms down by the side or out to the side if you prefer. Try to keep your shoulders and upper body relaxed and heavy. We're going to draw the knees into the chest and then make circles with the knees, gripping the block lightly, but without using our hands. And it doesn't matter how much of a circle you're doing. You could be making very subtle circles. That's okay. Whenever you're ready, going in the opposite direction. And you can keep your feet in whatever position is useful. So it could be relaxed, or you could point the toes or flex the feet, whatever comes naturally to you. And then here we're going to take the feet back down to the floor, nice and firm across the belly as we move, and then do a little twist. So here, twisting the knees to the left, the right foot comes off the floor, and then twisting back to center, nice and firm across the belly, twisting the knees to the right, left foot comes off the floor, and coming back to center. So we're just going from side to side. We don't have to get as twisty as it's possible for us to get. We're trying to wake up our core muscles and some of our deeper muscles in the abdomen so that we can draw on them once they're aware of the movements that we are keen for them to support. So we'll do one more of these to each side. Of course, if you can go a little deeper into your twists, you might enjoy that. And then we're going to come back to center. Bring the heels quite close to the buttocks. So if you can, your heels reach your buttocks, that might be a little bit too close, but quite close to the buttocks. We're going to press into the feet and just gently squeeze that block, arms down by the side, nice and firm across the belly, chin a little bit towards the chest, relax the shoulders back, and then just gently lift your hips up a little and lower the hips down a little. So we're just moving into this dynamic bridging pose. And as you come up, feel with your hands if your buttocks are engaged. If they're not engaged, give them an extra squeeze like you were trying to hold something, or hold some wind in, I think is probably the best one. And then as you move, just checking that that engagement is there across the buttocks. We're going to do a few more of these dynamically, maybe coming up a little bit higher, maybe firming the feet a little bit more into the floor, maybe firming the arms and the shoulders a little bit more into the floor. And then the next time you come up, we can do a little hula hoop in our up position. So as if you were hula hooping, little sway of the hips in a circle. Let's do 4 in one direction and then 4 in the other direction. Really pressing into the feet. And then when you're ready, rolling all the way down. Bend your knees into your chest, hang onto your block, and then take the feet to the floor one at a time. Stretch the legs away and just give the feet a little wave from side to side, maybe ankle circle as well. You can go in both directions, just keeping the knees nice and soft, easing out the hips. So we're going to do the same thing, but with the block between the knees on its second setting. So second widest setting. We can begin by bringing the knees into the chest, placing the block between the knees, and then the knees are in already. We're just going to make our knee circles. So they feel slightly different. The emphasis on the back of the body and the pressure on the back of the body, the contact there is different in this position than it was in the previous position. We'll go the opposite way as well. We're just encouraging those inner thighs to work ever so slightly to keep the block in place as well. Very good. And then here in the center, we're going to take the feet down to the floor and keep the knees in place. So swaying the knees from side to side, lifting the left foot as we take the knees to the right and back to center, and lifting the right foot as we take the knees to the left and back to center, as she says, and I've already lost my block. So do take care to place your block somewhere that it's useful and nice and firm across the belly as you work. Obviously not enough squeezing with the inner thighs there. So it's very hard to do muscular control through the core when you're giggling. Please try to avoid giggling if you can. We're going to do one more to each side, really focusing on this movement. Maybe you feel that you can move a little deeper into your twist with the knees just that little bit further apart. Maybe it's the opposite, doesn't matter. When you come back to center this time, we're just preparing our feet. So we want our feet to be somewhere really supportive, quite close to the body, relaxing the upper body into the floor, and then gentle rolling up into bridge pose and rolling down again. And here it helps to engage the belly muscles to just gently to encourage the back of the body to work as well. It's like a sympathetic response. We engage the thing that we're most in touch with, which is the front of the body, and it helps the back of the body to work. This time, taking your hands and just feeling your buttocks. Are they engaging? Hopefully they are. And then rolling down. And then taking a few more of these, maybe focused on the buttocks first rather than the belly and the feet, so that we use the back of the body to come up into our bridge pose. It doesn't matter how high up you go. You might be aware of a little gentle massaging effect as you roll on towards the shoulders, and you just get that nice releasing through the fascia of the upper back as well. Let's do one more up and down. And then as you come up this time, holding in the up position for a little hula hooping, and about 4 hula hooping wiggly hip movements to each side or in each direction. There's something really lovely about doing a little wiggle like that. And then coming all the way down, making sure your low back lands, knees to chest, hang on to your block, feet down and stretching the legs away. Wiggle the feet from side to side, just shaking out any effort from across the front of the pelvis, rolling in the ankles a little bit as well. Super stuff. So you have guessed it, we are going to now place the block on its widest possible setting. So we have been narrow like this. We're going to go as wide as we can. We're placing the block where it would be useful. And as the knees are into the chest already, we're going to hold the block in place and do our knee circles so we can massage out the bottom of the back as well. So a little lift in the belly muscles helps here. And we can go in the opposite direction as well. And be aware, if you're feeling effort in a particular part of the body, just being aware that that is maybe a part of the body that's quite strong and compensates for other parts not working. Who knows? We don't know exactly. So taking the feet down to the floor. And again, we're doing spinal twisting here. So nice and firm across the belly, just allowing the knees to come to one side, the opposite foot to come off the floor. Try to keep the shoulders heavy if you can, and coming back to center, and the opposite way. It doesn't matter if the shoulders move a little bit. It's not really about keeping them pinned to the floor, but you just want the stability so that the rest of your body can move away from this stable base across the shoulder girdle. I knew I was going to lose my block again. So if you, like me, are struggling to hold on to your block, and just making sure you place it in a way that's useful. Lovely. Let's just do one more to each side. That's pretty hard to keep the block in place there. Okay, and then we're going to come back to the center for our bridging poses. So pressing the feet into the floor, maybe pressing the arms and the backs of the shoulders and the back of the head down, and then we're just lifting the hips up and down. Rolling up into your bridge pose and down. In this variation, you might want to focus a little bit on taking your chest towards your chin to get that lovely sensation across the upper back. There we are, that's a better place for the block. And then this time when you come up, just holding up and doing that hula hooping. I have to say the hula hooping is easier for me the wider the block is. Going in the opposite direction when you're ready. You may find the same as well. At the top of your hula hooping, when you're finished, just making sure the buttocks are nice and fired, pressing into the feet, feeling the tops of the shoulders really nice and heavy, and then gently rolling all the way down. Very good. And then we're just going to bend our knees into our chest to catch hold of that block. You can rest it wherever it's comfortable across your body or to the floor. Stretch out the legs, give them a little rock and roll, whatever feels good in this moment. Now the block's going to go to one side for the minute while we focus on a little different way of activating through the center. So we're going to bring the feet together and arms down by the side and do a little bit of single leg lifting. So we want the upper back and head to be nice and heavy here, but very firm across the belly muscles. Maybe a slight tucking under of the tailbone if it feels like the right thing for your body. And then we can lift the right leg up, long and straight-ish, soft knee if needed. Bend the knee into the chest, just hug it towards you. Press the opposite heel into the floor. And then straighten your leg again and lower the leg down. Same thing on the other side. Pressing the right heel down, lift the left leg up. Bend the knee into the chest, hug it towards you. We're trying to ease out some tension if we have it there. And then lengthen the left leg and lower down. We're going to do this with our breath. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, lengthen the right leg. Exhale, lower down. Firm across the belly. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, lower. Inhale, right. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, lower. Very nice. Now we can do some straight legs. So relax your legs for a few moments. Just give them a little rock and roll, as we have done in the past, rolling in the ankles, rolling in the knees, whatever feels good. And then thighs back towards each other, pressing the low back down a little bit, engaging in the belly, arms down by the side. Just lengthen the right leg up and lower the right leg down. Lengthen the left leg up and lower the left leg down. And we can do that 2 more times to each side. Lengthen right as you inhale, exhale as you lower. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, left leg lower. 1 more time to each side. Inhale, exhale, and inhale, exhale. Very good. And gently bend your knees. Take your feet really, really wide, still firm across the belly, allowing the knees to sway from side to side. But without the block, we get different movement across the pelvis, across the legs, across the waist. Feel into the sides of your body. Feel wherever you have sensation. When you're ready, you can bring yourself back to the center So we're going to do a practice now that is kind of Pilates based, and we want to start with the left foot on the floor where it is right now, knees bent, left foot on the floor, and we're going to bring the right leg in a little. So the knee is over the hip and the shin is parallel or ish to the floor. So we have a little sort of right angle bend here in the leg. And our upper body is nice and heavy, but it's supportive. So if you need to, you can press down with the elbows. If you prefer, you can just lengthen the arms away, palms up, palms down. We want to really activate the core muscles, keep the head heavy, and then just lightly dip the right toe to the floor and then bring it back so that the leg comes back to the same position. The idea here is not to lengthen your leg to dip to the floor, but to keep that right angle bend in the knee. So pressing down with the left foot, firm in the belly, dipping the right toe and back to center. And we're going to do, let's say, 5 more of these. So a little dip, really firming the back of the body down into the mat, firm across the belly, dip, and we've got 2 more. A little dip, and then 1 more, a little dip. And they are indeed called toe dips, so that makes sense. Let's take the right foot to the floor. Just spend a moment in the center with both legs relaxed and let the effort across your center go. And then we're pressing down into the right heel. We're bringing the left knee in, so the left knee is over the left hip and the shin is about parallel to the floor, nice and firm across the belly. We're pressing the low back down into the mat gently to activate. If that irritates you, you don't have to do it, but for most people, that's the stronger position. And then we're gently taking the left toe to the floor and back to the center. Left toe to the floor and back to the center. Not trying to extend the leg, but keep the leg bent. And we're going to do 5 more of these. So dip, return to center, nice and steady across the belly, dip, return to center. Dip, return to center. I think 3 more, dip, and return, dip, and return. Nice control for our last one, dip, and return. Relax the foot to the floor. And here we're just gently going to widen the knees, widen the feet and sway the knees from side to side. So anything that just releases the effort across the body. If you prefer to draw your knees into your chest and make little circles, you can do both. You can do whatever you like. And I'm going to finish with my legs a little bit extended and just giving them a little shake out circle of the ankles. And I like to do that because it really it helps, just feels good. So this is we've done level 1, and I'm going to show you 2 more levels, and you can choose to work at whichever level suits you. So if you want to do some more of level 1, that's perfectly fine. But for the next level, we bring both feet off the floor so that the knees are over the hips and the shins are parallel-ish to the floor. And we want to, here it's a little bit harder to roll the low back down into the mat. So we have to really actively use our belly muscles. And if you find that really difficult, just nudge your knees a little bit closer towards you. If you find it really easy, you can nudge your knees a little bit further away. So it's a bit more of an effort. So from this starting position, we're relaxing the back of the body towards the mat, really firm across the center, want to keep stability through the back of the low back as well. And we're dipping the right toe to the floor and back to center, and then the left and back to center. So right leg first and return, and then left leg and return. Nice and firm across the belly as you work from side to side. We want to also keep the chin a little bit down towards the chest. When you're working with the front core, whenever you find your chin lifting, it means that your core is not engaged as it should be. So it's a really good sign that you perhaps need to draw the knees in a little bit more, or activate the muscles a little bit more, or perhaps rest if you're fatigued. We're just going from side to side. We're going to do 3 more to each side. Pressing the low back down, firm in the belly muscles, thinking about keeping the legs in that beautiful shape So they're actually really actively engaged here as well. One more time to each side. Very good. And then this time, hug the knees towards you. Give yourself a little rock and roll on the back of the body. And then when you've done that, you might like to let your feet come to the mat nice and wide apart for a little sway of the knees from side to side. Again, firming across the belly here to help support that movement. And then we might like to finish with lengthening the legs out to the side and just giving them a little rock and roll as well. I did say we were only going to do 3 variations of this pose, but there is a variation an extra variation I'd like to do, but we'll do it in a moment. So our third level, so these get progressively more challenging. Our third level brings the knees back to their original, their first position, the second position. Knees over the hips, shins about parallel to the floor, belly engaged. And we're going to take the block in our hands and reach the block over the chest. So we're holding a block over our bodies, and we're going to practice what we do with the block first. So we're keeping the back of the head nice and relaxed. We're going to reach the block in the arms over the head towards the floor. The idea is not to get to the floor, although some people might, but it's just to reach in that direction, to move away from where the knees are, and then bring the block to the over the chest position as we started. So we're just reaching slightly away, and you can firm your belly as you practice this, and we'll do this maybe a couple more times. So pressing the low back into the mat, feeling the belly muscles actively engage as we take the block away from center, which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to engage those muscles. And then we're going to do this, but with just the right leg. So dipping the right toes to the floor as you reach the block away from you and coming back to center with the block and the knee. Reaching the right toe away and the arms away and back to center. We want to keep the belly muscles really engaged and the back of the body really stable into the floor. That is 3. We're going to aim to do 5 more. Reaching and returning. If this feels like too much, just release the block and do just the legs. Keeping the arms for support. 3 more. Engage through the belly, nice and relaxed through the back of the head, the jaw, maybe even the face can relax as well. Who knows? Last one. Very good. If you can go straight to the other side, you can do that. If you need a rest, by all means, take a rest. So we're going to start in the center. We're moving just the left leg now, taking the left toes down to the floor as we reach the block over the head and return to center. Nice and firm through the center, keeping the back of the body stable against the floor. Just moving at your own pace. We're going to do 5 more of the pace that I'm doing. But if that means fewer, or hopefully fewer, not more, because more would be moving too quickly to get the effect. 3 more. Really softening through the upper back and the back of the neck, keeping the center, particularly around the belly, nice and firm. When you're ready, you can just bring the knees into the chest, release the block to one side, give the knees a little hug, rolling around on the back. Maybe it's a bit of rock and roll, alternate knee circles. Maybe the knee circles are going in the same direction. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Whatever feels like a good release for you. And then when you're ready, you can take your feet to the floor nice and wide, swaying the knees from one side to the other, nice and firm across the belly. And you can feel the effort that you've made as you make these releasing motions. But particularly when you engage in the core, you can maybe feel the deeper muscles that we've used. When you're ready, coming back to the center, relaxing the legs away, just giving them a little wriggle, rock and roll. And then we're going to return to this position just one more time. There are tons of variations that you can do, but this one I really enjoy. So we're going to come to the position where we have the knees over the hips, and we're going to take the knees and the toes together And then we're going to take the knees apart, but leave the toes together. So your legs make a little diamond shape. And if you wish it to be less challenging, you can bring your knees towards you. If you wish it to be more challenging, just nudge your knees lightly away. And then here, we're going to keep this diamond shape as we press the low back down to the mat and engage in the belly muscles. And then dip the right toes down and up, coming back to the diamond shape. Dipping the right toes down and up. Feels a little bit different because our knees are turned out. Dipping the right toes and return. Let's do 2 more. So we'll just do 5 of these on each side. Lovely job. Nice and engaged in the belly. Moving to the left leg when you're ready. Dipping the left foot and return. Left foot and return. Dip and return. Nice control. 2 more. Dip and return. Last one. Very good. And then draw the knees into the chest. Oh, I feel like such a release. And do a little bit of rocking and rolling around on the back of the body, maybe going in both directions. And then we're going to take the feet to the floor nice and wide. And this time, just doing a few little sways. And then when you're ready, you can let your knees rest down to one side and just hang out there for a moment or two. Maybe reach the opposite arm. So knees to the left, right arm would reach along the side of the head, maybe turning your head if it feels good. Maybe closing your eyes for a few deep breaths here. Whenever you're ready, you can release your arm back to your side, firm in the belly to bring the knees to center, a little sway from side to side. And then when you're ready, let the knees go all the way over to the opposite side. And it's the opposite arm that you're going to release away, maybe turning your head as well on this side. Taking a moment just to rest here with the eyes closed and breathe gently. Or deeply if you like. And then gently releasing that arm down again, firm in the center. Bring your knees back, sway a little from side to side. And we're going to lengthen the legs away and just make those ankle circles. Very good. And then when you're ready, you can bring your knees in towards your chest. We're going to bring the head towards the knees and just find a little rock through the length of the spine. So we're rocking from shoulder blades to sit bones. And as you come up, just seeing if you can balance a little bit at the top of the movement, engaging in that lift of the body. And you can use your arms for support, or you can begin to find balance without using the arms. And we'll do 1 more. Very good. Aces. So welcome to upright again. Let's take a moment here just to let the body settle into any comfortable seated position. Taking a few deeper breaths. Maybe softening any effort that you have across your face, your jaw, your shoulders, allowing the belly to be nice and relaxed in this position. Very good. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes and we can take our blocks and we're going to use them to do a little boat pose. So we're making our way towards plank, but we're going to go via boats just so we can do as many cool things as possible. So we're again going to start with the block on its narrow setting between the knees. And we want to find the bony bits of the bottom really in contact with the floor here. And then here, hold underneath the backs of the legs and sit with a really lengthened spine. So we're not talking about straight, we're talking about a sense of spaciousness down the back of the body. We're going to lean ever so slightly away from our legs. So the V between the torso and the thighs is quite deep. And then just coming onto your tiptoes, finding a point of balance, Maybe you can float your feet a little off the floor. They don't need to be super high. The higher they are, the more challenging it is. So begin just in this low position, holding on with the arms, keeping the chest lifted, keeping the back of the body lengthened, keeping engaged across the front of the body. And then you can see if lifting the knees, or lifting the feet rather, feels good. And then you can see if releasing the arms feels good. But if it doesn't, just hold on, it's not a problem. Keeping that sense of lift. And when you're ready, gather everything back towards you. Just fold a little bit forwards over your legs. Take a couple of deep breaths. And we're going to do the same thing, but with the block on its medium setting. So turn sideways this way between the knees. Then we are sitting tall, the bony bits in the bottom find the floor. We're holding on underneath the backs of the legs, sitting really tall, and just finding a point of balance, maybe floating with feet a little off the floor. Think about what's working to keep you in this position. See if you can distribute that work evenly across the back of the body, the belly, the hip flexors. If you'd like to, you can try lifting your knees up. That might alter your position of balance. That's okay. And if you'd like to, you can try releasing the arms, keeping the chest lifted. Nice deep breaths. And when you're ready, holding the knees, feet to the floor, just folding forward over your legs. And now we're going to take the block away and see if it feels differently to do it with the legs supporting each other. So we want the same type of engagement to draw the knees towards each other. This time with the knees together, sitting tall, drawing the knees in, then lifting the feet. You don't have to lift the feet high to begin with. Make sure you've got that lengthened position, that activation across the front of the body as well. Lift the knees or the feet, sorry, when you want to, if you want to, and relax the arms away from the legs. If you can keep your chest open, keep the knees don't need to be touching, but moving towards each other is good. And then very gently collecting yourself and just folding forward over your bent legs. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then we're going to let the soles of the feet find each other and the knees to come out to the side. It doesn't matter. My knees are always really high. They always have been. It doesn't matter what happens to those knees, but we're just going to give the knees a little bit of a bounce. So just like butterfly pose, keeping a sense of lift in the body. And if you want to, you can do a little sideways motion, just holding onto your ankles, wibble wobbling one side and then the other. Very good. And I said we weren't going to do anything on the wrists today, but for those of you who would like to, you can do an up plank in this position. So for those of you who want to stay off your wrists, you can come to the floor and do a nice long stretch of the body. But for those of you who are keen to do an up plank, we're going to start with the bent knee variation. So feet on the floor, hands wherever is comfortable. So it doesn't matter if your fingers are pointing out to the side or forwards or backwards. Do whatever feels best to you. Wherever you are, try to draw your shoulder blades towards each other to open your chest to begin with. A little softness in the elbows as well, not locked straight. Pressing into the feet, lifting your hips up, and then gently lowering the hips down. Adjusting your hands if you need to for comfort. Lifting the hips up and lowering the hips down. And we'll do one more like this, lifting and lowering. For those who'd like to do the full up plank, you can take your toes, legs long and turn the toes away from you. Again, drawing the shoulder blades towards each other to open your chest, pressing into the hands to lift the hips up, maybe look up towards the ceiling and gently lower down. Let's do two more. Lifting up, point the toes down towards the floor if you can, and release. And completely optional this time, as you come up, holding, and if it feels good, you can lift one leg up, circle at the ankle a couple of times in each direction, press both feet into the floor, and then lift the opposite leg up. Circle a couple of times in each direction. Press both feet into the floor and then release all the way down. And here we're going to swing ourselves around to lie on our bellies. Rest the forehead on the back of the hands. Toes turned towards each other, heels turned apart. Relax the effort across the belly, the back of the body, the forehead, the shoulders. Maybe wiggle the hips from side to side a little. Rest in this position, taking a few long, deep breaths. We're trying to release as much effort as possible. One more long, deep breath. When you're ready, you can bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Just move yourself back into a child's pose, either knees wide or knees together as you choose. Take a few moments to hang out in your child's pose, maybe wriggling your hips from side to side if that feels good. Just releasing the back in the opposite direction. And then whenever you're ready, coming up into kneeling. Super stuff. Please excuse me, I've got my trousers have gone south as per usual. Okay, so welcome, well done for getting this far in the class. You've done extremely well. I'm just going to move this block a little bit out of the way. We might use them again, maybe not. We're going to do some planking now, and we're going to do forearm planking, but for anyone who prefers, you can be on your hands for this. I did promise a wrist-free class, so let's try this. So we're going to start with a kneeling plank. And so we come to our knees, and then where your hands would be, we're going to put our elbows down and just see if that's a comfortable distance between your knees and your elbows. You might want to bring your elbows a little bit further forward so you've got a bit more room between the two. Here you can have your palms together, interlace your fingers, turn the palms up, turn the palms down, as you choose, whatever works. We want to begin by pressing into the outside edge of the hands and the forearms and the elbows, pressing into the toes and the tops of the feet, firming the belly muscles and just bringing the shoulders a little bit forward, knees stay on the floor, tucking the tailbone under, scooping the belly in and trying to create space underneath the body by pressing down into the arms. Hold as you breathe. You should feel active across your buttocks as well as your belly muscles. Take a few moments here. You can move your head a little, making sure you don't keep your neck too rigid. And then when you're ready, you can come back out of this and take a little child's pose if you need to, or you can just be upright if you prefer. Couple of deep breaths. Now, plank pose is not without its challenges. It's incredibly good if it's done correctly, because it encourages the center of the body, which is pretty much everything from the knees to the chest, to work together. Sometimes we get discomfort after practicing plank if you've got one area of the body that's doing a little bit of compensating and it gets fatigued. So it's worth noting, but that's a question to ask me after class. So we are going to take the knees a little bit further away from the elbows until we feel that we can maybe achieve a straight knee raised plank. Remember, it's just like our previous exercises. You can choose any level you like. So if you like that level and that was challenging enough, stick with it and you'll develop strength over time. So this time we're going to take our elbows down. We want them very much further forward than the knees, if possible, or still doing the previous exercise if you prefer. So we start with our tailbone sticking up and our weight back towards the feet, pressing into the feet, firming the belly, pressing down into the outside edge of the hands and forearms and bringing the chest forward, and just see if you can get that little tuck under of the tailbone, lift in the belly muscles. We're trying to create lift underneath the body by pressing the arms into the mat and actually actively spreading the shoulder blades apart from each other. So this is different. We normally draw the shoulder blades towards each other, and you can play with that a little bit. If it feels stronger to draw the shoulder blades in, that's great. But for most people, spreading the shoulder blades apart, really engaging through the shoulders, the chest, the upper back, the belly muscles, pressing into the toes or the feet, so we're really active in the legs. And then when you're ready, just releasing back into child's pose or kneeling upright if you prefer, taking a couple of deep breaths, maybe sighing out through the mouth. Remembering to breathe when you're doing postures that are quite demanding is sometimes the thing that people forget to do, and I did forget to say, but hopefully you've remembered. So if you've enjoyed this plank, the second variation we've done there is just a little bit more challenging than the first. And so feel free to stick with that if that feels like the right place for you. Now we're going to go for a full plank, full forearm plank. Forearm planks are more challenging than planks done on the hands for most people. It's not necessarily the case, but for most people. We're going to take the forearms forward and move the knees back quite far, pressing into those forearms and then bringing the body forward, tucking the toes and just lifting the knees off the mat. So we're pressing into the heels, we're firm across the belly, we're creating space underneath the body. There's maybe just a gentle tuck under of the tailbone, which activates the low abs, pressing down into the hands, down into the arms, and breathing this time. So just holding and breathing, really active down the sides of the body. And when you're ready, you can release down into your child's pose. You can lie flat on the belly if you prefer, or you can be upright in a kneeling position, whatever feels like the right place for you. Wherever you are, relaxing the effort, particularly across your shoulders, your belly. And when you come to a more upright position, if you wish to, you can do a few shoulder rolls. So good. Now, if at any stage when we're going through these variations, you feel like your body has had enough for this day, then feel free to rest. And remember that when you come back to these variations, you can, of course, practice them gradually over time to build strength. But daily practice of plank pose will bring you fantastic results in a short amount of time. So in terms of being able to hold it, being stronger, and all of that jazz. So let's talk about some variations here. This variation can be done with either the knees down or the knees up. I'm going to do it with the knees up, and we'll see how we get on. So we're going to take the forearms to the floor and just move them ahead of the body, stretching the legs back, firming the feet into the floor, bringing the shoulders forward, tucking the toes under for those who are lifting the knees. So here, with the knees up, we're first holding our plank. So we're tucking the tailbone, scooping the belly in, pressing through the heels, pressing through the arms, creating that space underneath the body, making sure that we're nice and loose in the back of the neck. And then if you wish to, you can press your weight forward by pressing off the toes, and then press the weight back by pressing into the heels. So you're moving from your toes. You're almost bringing yourself onto your toe tips and then back onto the balls of the feet. Toe tips, balls of the feet, legs very active, and just doing a little bit of rocking. For anyone who wants to do it a little quicker, you can rock a little bit more quickly. Still really firm through the center, still really lifting away from the mat. And then when you're ready, knees down, child's pose or lying flat on the belly. Taking a couple of deeper breaths. Relaxing the effort in the center of the body, across the shoulders, the face, the jaw. And then when you're ready, coming up into an upright position again, rolling the shoulders if that's needed. Hopefully it's not needed. And then we can do another variation. So we've got, I think, 2 more variations before we are shortly going to come to doing relaxation, but we are going to do a little balance first. So with this variation, we're we're using just a little bit more strength still. So taking the forearms to the floor, taking the knees back a little bit, firm in the feet, firm in the center of the body as the shoulders come forward, tucking the toes under if you would like to. And then here, we're just going to dip one knee to the mat and then the opposite knee. So it's like you're walking your dog, but you're in your plank. You're still creating space underneath the body, still pressing into the forearms, still active across the belly muscles, but you have this nice sort of undulation. And I find that these variations mean that I can hold the plank a little bit longer because I've got something to do. And I get bored if I'm just holding still. Whenever you're ready, bending your knees in, finding your child's pose or lying flat on the belly. A nice release across the belly and the chest with releasing the breath. So coming upright for our final plank variation. Oh, sorry. So our final plank variation, there are lots and lots of variations of plank, but our final plank variation today is a one-legged plank. So if you are knees down, I encourage you to stay with your knees down and just hold for the duration of this plank. And as I say, daily practice, get stronger really, really quickly, and you'll find that you're able to take off with your plank sometime soon. So for those who are able to do this with the knees up, we're going to practice one leg variations and see how we go. See if you can hold. It's not a problem if you can't. Taking the forearms to the floor, moving the knees back, bringing the chest forward, scooping the belly in, tucking the tailbone under, and lifting the knees away from the mat. Think about that firm center, the space underneath the body. We're going to bring the feet quite close together and then just simply point the left toes backwards. So you're on your right foot, you're a little bit tucked under. You haven't really lifted that leg up into the air, although you can if you wish to. Simply just pointing the leg backwards, toes backwards, sorry, keeping the legs pretty stable is quite good. And then both feet down. Make any adjustments you need to, maybe re-establish your core, your lift, and then pointing the right toes backwards. We want to try to do it without rolling in the hips, without bringing ourselves into a different position, just a simple lengthen of that leg. If you wish to lift your right foot a little bit higher, you can. I find that really it's much more stabilizing kept low. And then both feet down, knees down. Whew. Child's pose. Taking a few deep breaths. And you'll be pleased to know that that's the last of our planks today. So making sure you give yourself the opportunity to release the effort that you've made in your practice. Release your breath. If it's useful to sigh out, then you can. And then from here, we're going to come into a standing position, standing upright. Ooh, excuse me, as I wiggle my bits about. And we're going to practice an upright balance that allows us to use all of this enhanced core work to find stability. And we're going to also use our eyes. So I like to balance off my mat and in bare feet. So for those of you who've got some shoes on, or no, shoes on, socks on, you might like to take your socks off. So you want as much feedback as possible through your feet. So taking yourself into bare feet is really ideal. And the harder or firmer your surface is, the better the feedback. But if you're on carpet, don't worry about it. It's also fine. So we're going to start by just finding a point of focus ahead of us that's not moving and finding that sense of engaged length like we had in the plank. Want to firm the legs, firm the center of the body, not so we're rigid, but just so we're engaged. Turning the palms of the hands forward, dropping the fingers down, using your point of focus and simply floating the left heel off the floor. And then, if you can, the left toes off the floor. It's not a particular posture. We're just standing on one leg and seeing how our balance is in this moment. And then we're going to stand onto both feet. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So feeling that lift in the body. Use your point of focus. Float the right heel off the floor. If you can, float the right toes off the floor. You don't need to lift your leg high. You're simply observing how your balance is today. So this is my much more wobbly side. I can tell from all of the feedback through the foot, and then stepping onto both feet. So we're going to try to use our vision to improve our balance. And so you'll be able to see by the end of this practice if it has worked. So the first thing that we're going to do is use our point of focus, but then become aware of the peripheral vision. So everything that you can see around you whilst you direct your gaze forward. And then take your weight onto your right foot, feel that lift through the body, lifting the left heel, maybe even floating the left toes off the floor, and keeping a conscious awareness of your peripheral vision. Just see if that improves your sense of balance. Nice soft gaze, deep breaths. When you're ready, standing onto both feet. Anytime you need to, you can take a little wiggle or a forward bend or a shoulder roll, whatever feels good to you. We're going to take our weight onto our left foot, same thing again, taking this lift through the body, being aware of the peripheral vision, using your point of focus, and just seeing if being aware of the things that you can see to the outsides. In my case, it's like the door to this room, sofa. You can see my hands just towards the edge of my vision. Maybe you can use your hands also to encourage the awareness of the peripheral vision. When you're ready, standing onto both feet. Wasn't that so much more steady? For me, it definitely was. You can still feel the wobbles and still feel the feedback through the foot and the ankle, but feels much more stable. So this time we're going to do a little movement of our head as well. So here we're going to take the weight onto the right foot, stand nice and tall, float the left foot off the floor, either heel or both heel and toes, and then here we're just going to turn to look at the side, turn back to the center, turn to look at the side, turn back to the center. It's either side, one side to center, opposite side to center, and then step onto both feet. That's a little bit more challenging to turn the head while you're actually balancing as well, but it's a really nice thing to do. And my foot and leg feel really strong as a result of that. Let's try the other side as well. So we're standing nice and tall. We're taking the weight onto the left foot, floating the right heel or right heel and toes off the floor. And then once we've found our center, we can turn to look at the side, turn back to center, doesn't matter if you wobble, turn to the opposite side and back to center. Quite quick movements, turn to the side, back to center, turn to the opposite side and back to center. Then step onto both feet. And then we're going to use all of these balancing drills that we've done to balance more readily into, it can be any balance, but perhaps tree pose is quite a nice one to do today. So we're going to take our weight onto the right foot, feel the lift down the right side of the body and turn out the left toes, maybe place the foot against the inner calf or perhaps higher up if you'd like to. And here we're standing in tree pose, just a nice basic tree, becoming aware of the peripheral vision. We're not going to do head turning here, but you might like to bring your hands to the center of your chest. And if you wish to, you can grow your branches high, either with the palms together or palms apart, just feeling a sense of length from the scooped instep of your standing leg all the way to the tips of your fingers. Nice deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can point your left knee forward, stand onto both feet, just release your arms down to the side, take a moment, feel the effect of your posture work, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we're taking the weight onto the left foot, finding our point of focus, making sure that you're lifting out of the left foot all the way up into the hip, turning the right knee out to the right, resting the foot against the inside of the left leg, wherever is comfortable. Press the two together and become aware of your peripheral vision. Bring your palms together at the center of your chest. If you wish to, you can grow your branches up tall. Arms can be quite wide. They can be palms together, whatever feels good to you in this moment. Think about engaging through your core, engaging through the buttocks, the belly muscles. We don't want to lock our standing leg straight either. It needs to be a little bit soft in the knee. Nice deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can turn the right knee forward and step onto both feet and just become a little aware of your practice. Let's give ourselves a little shake out, a little rock and roll. For lots of people, a forward bend here is really nice. So if you want to take your feet quite wide, breathing in, taking the arms around the body, and then folding forward from the hips, soft in the knees, just coming into a nice standing forward bend, maybe holding elbow to elbow, maybe swaying the knees from side to side, or the hips from side to side, or the upper body from side to side, whatever feels good. Just relax in the back of your neck. We find a little lift in the belly muscles. And then when you're ready, maybe nodding the head or shaking the head gently, and you can make your way down onto the mat. And we want to progress out, find our way towards relaxation here. So making any preparations that you need. And because we're doing a slightly extended relaxation today, you might like to put on an extra layer or two. You might like a blanket underneath you as well as on top of you. Today, because it's a longer relaxation and Yoga Nidra, I will be sitting up. So please find a way to find your way to your relaxation pose of choice. If you really want to, right now, you could take this screen to your bedroom so that you can recline in bed and be really comfy and relaxed. Today, we're going to have some water imagery. So if you know that that doesn't suit you, you might prefer to use a different relaxation. Listening to some music or similar. So as you come onto your back, just taking a moment to release any effort. So if you need to, you can have your knees into your chest. If you need to, you can roll through your shoulders or do some twists or turns, whatever feels like the right thing in this moment. And then when you're ready, you can bring your body back to center. We'll do a little stretch and relax here, just because it helps us to release effort from the practice. So pointing the toes of both legs, lifting both legs off the mat a little, holding them tense, 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 relax and drop down. Squeeze the buttocks and lift the hips up, stretching the front of the pelvis, holding tense, tense, relax and drop down. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other, lifting the chest up, stretching the front of the body, holding this, and then relax and drop down. Stretch your arms away from you and make fists out of the hands. Lift the arms a little off the mat and shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. And then press the shoulders down towards the feet, the hips, spread the arms, spread the fingers, relax and drop down. Press your low back down into the mat. And at the same time, think about lengthening the whole of the back of the body, even the back of the neck. Keep the head heavy, but keep the whole spine moving towards the floor as you breathe, holding and relax. Screw all the muscles of the face in towards the nose, make a tight lemon-sucking face. Then eyes open, mouth open, tongue out, exhale. And relax. Close your eyes. Gently roll your head from one side to the other, a couple of times in each direction, easing any residual tension out of the neck and shoulders. When you're ready, you can bring your head back to center, closing the eyes if you need to. We'll take a deep breath in And sigh out through the mouth. Repeat just one more time, a deep breath in, and surrender the weight of your body into the floor. Allow your breath to fall into its natural rhythm and fall into quietness. Take your awareness into your forehead, feel it soften. The area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, and jaw releasing. For our Sankalpa positive affirmation today, we're going to use the phrase, I am at peace. So in your mind, not out loud, repeating, I am at peace 3 times with intention. As we move our awareness around the body, and each part of the body is mentioned in turn, rest your awareness there and allow that part of your body to soften and relax as deeply as you can. Bring your awareness to your right hand thumb, first finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, the back of the hand, the palm of the hand, the right hand, the right wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, the right side, right waist, right hip, the top of the thigh, the back of the thigh, the knee, the calf, the shin, the right ankle, the heel of the foot, sole of the foot, top of the foot, the right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe of the right foot. Move your awareness to your left hand thumb, first finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, the back of the hand, the palm of the hand, the left hand, the left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, the left side, left waist, left hip, top of the thigh, back of the thigh, the left knee, calf, shin, the left ankle, the heel of the foot, sole of the foot, top of the foot, the left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe of the left foot. Repeat your positive affirmation, I am at peace, 3 more times in your mind. Bring your awareness back to the right side of the body, the right hand, the right thumb, first finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, the back of your hand, palm of your hand, your right hand, the right wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, underarm, the right side, right waist, right hip, right thigh, top of the knee, back of the knee, calf, shin, the right ankle, heel of the foot, sole of the foot, top of the foot, the right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe of the right foot. Move your awareness to your left side, your left hand, your left thumb, first finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, the back of your hand, the palm of your hand, your left hand, left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, underarm, the left side, left waist, left hip, left thigh, top of the knee, back of the knee, calf, shin, the left ankle, heel of the foot, sole of the foot, top of the foot, the left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe of the left foot. Now bring your awareness to the whole of the right arm, the whole of the left arm, and both arms together. The whole of the right leg, the whole of the left leg, and both legs together. The right buttock, left buttock, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, the whole of the back, the length of the spine, the back of the neck, back of the head, top of the head, both sides of the head, the forehead, the right eyebrow, the left eyebrow, the center of the eyebrows, the upper eyelids, the lower eyelids, the touch point of the eyelids, the length of the nose, the tip of the nose, right nostril, left nostril, right cheek, left cheek, the upper lip, lower lip, the touch point of the lips, the tongue, the jaw, the throat, the right collarbone, left collarbone, right side of the chest, left side of the chest, the center of the chest, the whole of the rib cage, the diaphragm, abdomen, the right groin, the left groin, now bring your awareness to the whole body together, the whole body together, the whole body together. And repeat your positive affirmation, I am at peace, 3 more times. Now picture in your mind's eye a piece of seaweed, a rich, dark green, leafy, and floating in the shallows. You might be in the water with the seaweed or simply watching it from above. The seaweed is buoyant. It has air pockets to keep it afloat. And it bobs up and down, changing shape as the gentle currents swirl around it. It lengthens, it bunches, it twists, swirls, and stretches. Now picture yourself as that piece of seaweed. Notice how limp and light your body feels, how easily it responds to the flow of the water. Allow your outstretched arms and legs to gently sweep and sway to and fro. Imagine a wave moving through the water, gently lifting you up as it rises and lowering you down as it ebbs. You're always buoyant, always floating, but there's a gentle rise and fall with the movement of your breath and the movement of the water. Imagine that the next wave carries your piece of seaweed and gently rests it on the shore. There you can rest on the warm sand, resting down, rounded, solid, and still. Bring to mind your positive affirmation, I am at peace, and repeat 3 more times. Gently become aware of the environment around you. You might like to even picture yourself lying on the floor in your space, under your blanket. Become aware of the feeling of your body on the floor, the feeling of your solid body, the body that is here and now. Begin to gently move your fingers and your toes, maybe rolling your wrists and your ankles. Draw yourself more into your body, moving more pieces of the body, maybe taking a deep breath in and stretching your body in any way that feels good. Maybe stretching down one side and then the other. Maybe taking a yawn to stretch across your face. When you feel ready, you can gather your knees into your chest, Hug them towards you. Make any movements that feel good. Keeping your eyes closed if you can. Rock a little from side to side, or maybe turn your head from side to side. When you're ready, rolling to one side and just taking a moment to contain that sense of stillness, that deep peace within. In your own time, make your way to any comfortable upright position. And as you come to your upright position, you can palm your eyes if you would like to. I'm going to suggest that, but if you prefer not to, you don't have to. So to palm the eyes, clap twice, and then rub your hands really vigorously. Pressing the palms together, rubbing them fast and firm. When the palms begin to feel warm, you can place the hands over your eyes. So that warm darkness is the most inviting place to blink your eyes open into. Allow a little more light in at a time. When you're ready, releasing your hands down as you open your eyes fully. Thank you so much for joining in this practice. I hope you enjoyed your extended relaxation and Yoga Nidra and feel that sense of restored calm and peace for the rest of your week. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste.